The reason that I set up channelshiftcamp basically was to provide a forum and a vehicle for the people that have been coming to many of the public sector customer service forum events. The whole purpose is for knowledge share, networking, innovation, and providing ideas that public sector managers involved in Channel Shift can take back to their organisations and start putting into practice.
Welcome to Derby, welcome to Derby City Council, welcome to Derby City Council's Council House, welcome to Derby City Council's Council House Chamber for this public sector customer service transformation via shifting how customers, all of us, engage with us.
This has worked really well in the social media and digital engagement world over the last 2 or 3 years, and I've decided to run the inaugural event today to see if we can transfer the learning and innovation and skills that have come from those unconferences into Channel Shift.
We're very pleased to be hosting this event today, and we're hoping that you'll glean a lot from the day. It's what we call an unconference. I've never been to an unconference before, so I might hang around and just see what happens in an unconference, whereby I think you have an immediate choice as to who's going to present on what particular subject area. So that sounds quite exciting.
So the way that these sessions work is that they really can be in any sort of format or anything like that you like. So don't worry about having a very well-organised or prepared presentation or anything like that. It could well be that you've just got a question that you'd like to get people's answers on, or you'd like to have a discussion about certain points. So don't feel like that as the person pitching the session, you're going to be the person who's going to have to be talking for 45 minutes about that. That's not what it has to be at all.
The idea for my session is that I'd like to talk about, can there actually be a case for a return on investment? How do you find it? How do you ensure that you hit the ROI? And the outcome of the session would be to, how do we capture that information to move forward and allow us to forecast the ROI?
We're a bit slow to the Channel Shift party. We want to nick everyone else's ideas, so the top 10 things that actually work on the web and the things that you thought would work but didn't actually work, so we can learn from you all and get ours almost right. Cool.
I'd like a conversation about how we might deal with those people, officers and politicians who we might regard as the blockers. How do we convince people who are just in the way?
And I want to look at how can you design out the public service from having to deliver public services, but it doesn't have to be necessarily back to a community of voluntary sectors. Actually, how to develop some entrepreneurship for SMEs so they can start to develop a new type of public service offer in local places for local people.
Everyone's at different stages on trying to achieve channel shift, not just within the UK but also globally. So we work in the US, in Canada, Australia, the Netherlands and the UK. Up until recently we would have seen that, observed that the North Americans, particularly the Canadians, would have been ahead of the UK in terms of channel shift strategies or digital first strategies. People call them different things. But we're seeing now that change in the UK. I think in the next year we'll see the UK actually take over or get ahead of certainly the Canadians. One of the reasons why people are at different stages geographically as well as within the UK is there's a bunch of barriers to achieving channel shift. And we're going to cover some of those in the session later today, but some of those include simple things like the lack of a standardised approach to identity management. And without that, you actually can't actually provide services, certain services to citizens at all. So I think that's one of the key enablers we think will change in the next year.
You fill it in online and
go straight to the service.
Straight to the
They
service.
pick it up and they deal
And
with
does
it.
the service report back to say we're going to pick up the bin, or do you not go that far?
Yeah, they'll know the case. The customer can see that and we can see that from the contact centre point of view.
How are people accessing your website? You know, does the demographic, the type of device that they're using and the way they actually interact with websites actually fit the things that you think you're trying to achieve with channel shift? So once you actually understand what people want and how they're doing that, you can either build your channel shift strategy on that, or review your existing strategy and make further changes. Deploy some behaviour shaping tools within the website to drive that channel.
Does anybody run a scorecard or bench or a kind of dashboard for their services? That's something that's quite good, where you create a kind of, it's like a school report card, and it's like, well, how many transactions did you have? How many were face-to-face? How many were telephone? How many were online self-service? how many were preventable, and then report that to them every
I suppose my perspective on channel shift is from a communications person, and that's my day job. I'm a local government communications officer. I think it's a really important thing, which I think a lot of communications people don't really grasp, is how can we help organisations channel shift. Yes, we can still write press releases and set up photo calls, but actually the really interesting challenge for local government is how do we move people online? How do we sort of get people to do things in a slightly different way? And I think there's a really massive role for PR and communications in that.
What we really like about it is that people were sharing ideas about what's working, and that's what we found with Channel Shift has really been, it's different things to different people, and we've got an approach to it which keeps things really simple, from focused on the customer to then sort of, when you understand the customer, then understanding the interactions that happen in the customers having with your organisation, so then you can get to the important thing, which is the saving of money and the change in their processes to support that.
Okay, so what we've got here is, again, we're talking about, one of the interesting things is about how people consider computers and how we interact with them, that kind of thing. Are there some more fun ways of doing it? I would argue that there are, and this is one of them, which is that actually can we use different materials and things to control a computer and not just be reliant on keyboards and mice and all that kind of stuff.
We believe that the moving the services online is just half the battle, so what I wanted to do is run a session on take-up and show a number of campaigns that people could run in order to help boost the numbers and get significant numbers of customers onto the web, so that the council can really start to unlock the significant savings.
During social media you get a better response, and they know that. Our customers know that because they tweet airlines all the time, badgering them, and they expect the same from us.
That's a really good point, because actually for ones I've seen, the local authorities that don't do anything, the data you look at them, everybody's just having a whinge. And that's what it's about, basically. But they're not responding to it. But actually, when, like you say, when people start responding to it, they don't, almost not expecting to get a response. And when they do, it's quite exciting, and they do kind of thank you for it.
I think we have to recognise that in today's environment, people want multi-channel access to government services, and being able to offer that across social networks, on mobile phones, by whatever device is preferred by the user and the customer, is where we should be at.
Hopefully this will be the first of many.